Hello, this is Joseph from Gorilla 3D. Something I'm going to touch on before I go to sleep is freelancing. Now, if you've never developed a website and you want to start doing freelancing simply because you like doing some code, which is pretty hard to believe, but you like it anyways, and you want to do some maybe web design for maybe some people in your community. The first thing you can do is start doing just free ones. You can do one maybe for a local store, and maybe your mom website on her family or something. Um, yeah, basically that's how it's going to more or less end up. And then as you get better, people are going to spread the word. Oh, I know this person; he can create a website. And when you start getting those people to call you, say, "Oh yeah, I can do this, but I'm going to charge this much," and then you start charging money. Now, when you pick up somebody that someone else referred you to, you usually get someone who is completely oblivious to web design and development in general. They don't know how hard it is or how tedious certain things are. They just want a simple website. They don't care what it is, as long as it looks good and it functions. That's it. That's usually the gist of the amount of freelance work that you get in the beginning. They're just people who are, they don't understand web standards or anything. All they understand is making a website for them to either gain profit or get recognized. So once you can, it's really hard to try to manage those clients. I actually just about a couple months ago, I finally just gave up trying to manage a few clients simply because the amount of work I was doing wasn't summing up to the money they were paying me. But I didn't want to charge them more simply because I didn't think it was fair. And I just said, I'll continue to pay for your hosting. Just you can find someone else, and they did find someone else, and they're doing an okay job with the website. They haven't destroyed it literally. And so, if you don't like that kind of stuff, then the other thing you can do is internet freelancing, and that's a little bit better, but again, a little bit worse. It's a little bit better because when you pull on somebody as a client, they actually know some stuff about the internet because they found you on the internet. So they know a little bit about web standards. They usually know a little about MySQL or PostgreSQL or whatever. They just know a little bit about development, enough to understand what they need and how they need it. That's better because it helps you talk to them easier without having to dumb everything down. And another thing is that is you just once you do something good for them, you tend to build a good relationship. Now, do not pick up projects that you don't know how to do. I'm pretty guilty of this. Well, not guilty because I actually knew how to do it, but it was like the amount of time I spent on it and the amount of money they were paying me just didn't add up. So I was like, yeah. So I'd either do some really bad thing like ignore them and just not continue the project, which is really bad. Don't do that. That's stupid. Or I'll tell them up front, this is more work than I anticipated for the pay, and if you're not going to pay me more, I cannot continue this project. And that's more or less what happens. And there's other times where they have like an urgent time limit and you can't reach it, but you're almost there, but they just need it, and apparently they don't think you're going to finish in time, so they drop you. That gets really annoying, especially if you're not paid and you've already done some work. Yeah, just a little rant right there. And so yeah, back to internet freelancing. So yeah, make sure you have a good portfolio. Make sure you have a site running with actual web pages. It doesn't matter if they're real or fake. Just have some good content on them that makes them look real if they are fake. And basically, when somebody sees your site, they don't care how well you can actually write your code. They just care how pretty your website looks. So however pretty you can make your website is however good they think you are. So if you make your website and maybe pure CSS with XHTML 1.0 strict, it doesn't matter. As long as it looks nice from the visual sense, they're like, oh, okay, maybe this person can actually do some web development. So yeah. Another thing is, if you're going to get into internet freelancing, make sure you communicate with your person every single day. I mean, there's people that I've talked to maybe like once a day, and then they don't talk to me, and it's maybe for like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And there's things that I can't do simply because I need to talk to them more than 5 minutes. So if they're that kind of person that waits a whole day and only talks to you for maybe about an hour or half an hour, you usually don't want to pick up that kind of project. That's bad. Another thing is, when you pick up a project that's already developed and they want you to continue the code, oh man, just ignore those. The reason why is because usually, I don't know what it is, but people tend to code very badly in a particular language that's called PHP. I've had one exception where I was like, wow, this is actually nice code. I think I can work with this. Wow. And then I actually was able to work with this. I switched out a few things, maybe like because they were using PHP 4 and they needed to be upgraded to PHP 5. I just like switched out maybe their JSON library or their SQL thing they were using, and it was actually pretty good code. But there's other times where it's like they picked up the project from another project and they don't understand how to use the libraries that other projects use, so they use their own libraries, and then you got like two database libraries mixed in together with yeah, it gets to a mess. And then it gets to the point where you're just like, you just need to fix something on there. You don't need to make it better, but it drives you so insane, but you don't. You just leave the code as crap, and you just add more crap to it, and then you send it back and say, I'm done. And those are the kind of sites that I'm like, I'm not adding that to my portfolio. 7 minutes already? Okay. So yeah. If you want to continue doing freelance outside the internet, it's probably better pay, because I've gotten paid like $500 just to do a simple web design versus me getting paid $200 to do a full-on Ajax design with PHP, XHTML, and just a lot of client-rich features that just take so long to develop. And it's like, okay, I'm getting paid $200 to develop an entire email client on the website, on that you can like drag stuff around and add attachments instantly, and it's really streamlined versus a simple web design. So yeah, there's a huge difference there. It always depends on who you pick up, but if you need work, I usually go to sites like Scriptlance or Elance or something Lancer, then Guru.com, and then a few others. But yeah, usually it's not hard for me to pick up a project. It's just harder to actually like the project I'm working on. Usually, and that's another thing. If you're doing internet freelancing, you're on the computer and you're on the internet. It's really hard to work when you have like maybe a chat client open and you have somebody talking to you, or you actually have your client yourself talking to you and saying, and they get out of like the whole client mode and they tend to go to free mode and like, oh yeah, I have this nice computer, and you're just trying to work, but they give you all this crap that you don't want to listen to, so you're just like, oh, that's cool, yeah, let me get back to work, yeah. And yeah, it's basic rants on freelancing and internet freelancing.